This is the brand new Fleming 60, and this very boat is the first one out of the shipyard. It shares a platform with the existing Fleming 58, but they've moved the transom aft 500mm and the platform itself has moved back 500mm as well. And the extra space has been used to create this, the California deck, with space below for an extended lazarette or a single crew cabin. Prices start at around $4.3 million, so it's not cheap, but it is one of the most capable 60-footers you can buy, with a cruising range of 2,500 nautical miles. Fleming sold 45 58, so it's a well-proven platform. Let's see what this all-new 60 has to offer with an in-depth tour. I'm Jack Haines, welcome to YachtBuyer. Before we get into it though, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, and you'll never miss another tour like this one. Let's start with the key feature on the 60, shall we? The California deck. In moving the transom back 500mm, extending the bathing platform by 500mm, they've created this area, this raised living space with a dinette and sofa. On the 58, which this boat shares a platform with, the cockpit is completely open, no furniture at all. Great if you're scuba diving, fishing, water sports. Here you have some living space as well, but you can still do those things. You've got the railing here, this nice passage so I can move around very easily, rod holders as well, hint at the fact that you can do a bit of fishing if you want to. And then there's the practical stuff as well. Central boarding gate, look at the size of that. Seriously chunky stuff, but obviously brings you right into the middle of the boat, which is very nice. It's a fixed platform, nothing to do with tender handling on this boat. The tender lives up there, as you've probably already spotted. So yeah, this is just a fixed platform, a way to get yourself down into the water. There is some storage underneath that hatch there, and this owner has specified the passerelle. Very, very handy when you're moored in an environment like this, where you're stern to. And there's the mooring gear as well, obviously very important part of the boat. This is going to be an owner-run boat most of the time, so crewing it, running it, mooring it is very important. It has to be easy. Note how you've not got the big cleats up here potentially getting in the way. You've got a pair of cleats on each side hidden away underneath the bulwarks here, and then massive fair leads as well that you can run the ropes and also the shore power lead through. It's really practical stuff. There's a place for everything on this boat, but now let's have a closer look at this new design feature. This raised area I'm stepping onto now is what gives you the space down below for the extended lazarette or the optional crew cabin, and obviously this is where your table sits, and this is the difference. On the 58 it is open, but you've got freestanding furniture that you either need to pack away or strap down when you're on the move. This is always here, ready to go when you want to use it. You can see you've got the nice big bench that runs across the transom there, and then we've got the director's chairs on either end here, but you bring these round so they face that bench there. It's a really nice sociable area and connects very nicely to the saloon with these sliding doors. As standard, the Flybridge steps are open, so you have open treads, so you have a bit more light coming in to this area, but if you have the moulded version, you get more storage. Storage down at foot level here. There's a bigger lock on that side, which is really good for cleaning supplies. And over on the starboard side, there's this little wet bar. No grill, but you've got a sink, a fridge down here, and this boat has got the upgraded twin disc gearbox system and all of the equipment that comes with uprated thrusters, joystick, and there are joysticks dotted all over the boat, one of which is here. It's one of the heavy cost options on board this boat, the twin disc system. I'll talk more about how it works later on, but having one here is great because my view of the transom is absolutely perfect if I'm mooring stern to. I can also really easily see forward as well. It's a great spot. Let's head forward now. These side decks are a microcosm of what Fleming is all about. There's so much lovely practical detailing to enjoy. It starts with these doors here that close off this section, so if the wind is blowing down the bow, which of course it will be if you're on anchor, it's stopping the wind funneling down the sides there, and you can open them up obviously when you want to use the side decks. It's worth pointing out too that as an option you can, with covers, enclose the entire cockpit, so you can really extend that living space. What else? Well, more big cleats down here, fair leads as well, handrails all over the place. You've always got somewhere to grab onto, and you'll note as well we've got the rod holders overhead, so those fishermen are looked after. A boarding gate here as well, there's another one up there, 2 boarding gates on either side. In here you have access to diesel fillers, all very conveniently located, and obviously hidden behind hatches as well. Deck drains of course, so water can drain away really easy. I also like this detail, the Fleming F is on the lights around here. That's quite a nice little touch, and it's just such an easy, safe boat to move around. There is a little run of steps here, but you've got the railing here to help yourself up Another boarding gate here, crucially aligns perfectly with the side door into the pilot house. You've got those on both sides. And then we arrive at what is typical Fleming design, the Portuguese bridge, which allows you to move all the way around this area, back down the other side. The flow around this boat is really easy, and they've built in storage here as well. Storage on both sides for all the covers for this area, all in one place, very easy to tuck away. There's also a prism as well, a light prism under my foot. You don't see those much these days, but we'll see the effect of that, bringing natural light down into the lobby on the lower accommodation. And the nice thing about the Portuguese bridge design is you can come around both ways. You have doors on either side, they pop open on a gas ram. You can lock those shut, of course. And here's something you may not be used to seeing on a Fleming: sunbathing space, but this is actually a really good use of space. You don't get much flat out sunbathing space on boats like this. Not the case here. That's a lovely area to catch the sun. You've the hardtop up on the Flybridge. Obviously the cockpit is pretty well protected as well, so nice to have some proper sunbathing areas. Back to practical stuff though. Mooring gear as well, both sides super chunky as you can see, and twin anchors. The second anchor is an option, but you know, this boat is designed to explore, so you want redundancy, and you've got your ultramarine stainless steel anchor, stainless steel chain, and then lockers on either side as well. And this is an owner's boat, so there is kit in these, but it's quite a good way of demonstrating, you know, this is how these boats are used. They're very practical. Everything pops open on gas rams. It's all beautifully lined out. You've got the separate controls for your anchor windlasses, salt and fresh water washdown throughout. And then when these are down, they lock in place as well. Proper stuff. Let's head to the Flybridge. The moulded ladder is a little steep, but you have got plenty to hold on to when you get up here. And this is part Flybridge, part living space, and obviously part boat deck as well. This is designed to hold your tender. This is where it lives on the 60. This boat's got a Highfield 390. I'm seeing more and more of these Highfields on boats like this. People love them. They're aluminium, so they're light. This has got to be launched by a crane, obviously. That's got a 440 kilogram lift limit, but it's light. It's also tough, of course. So if you want to go into the shallows, you want a beach, you don't have to worry about the hull. It can handle it. But yeah, that's a boat you can clearly have a lot of fun on, judging by the amount of water toys inside it. It's a practical space as well. I've got really grippy deck underneath my feet. Obviously when you're doing manoeuvres with the tender, you want to be sure-footed, and there's space underneath for a couple of canoes as well. Storage is good up here. They've not got storage under the seats, the idea being you don't want to be moving guests away if you want to get to stuff, but they've got these pods here, one back there, one here. This is all lined out storage, but also they're strong enough that you can perch on them if you want to. Again, quite a flexible space, and you've noticed another joystick back there as well, so you can be raised up that at the back of the boat, which is nice. Wet bar here is pretty small. It's also set quite low. If you're doing your cooking and you're quite tall, you're going to be stooping over, but you've got your grill, a sink with a chopping board, and then the fridge underneath. And then moving forward, underneath the protection of the hardtop, you've got your living space. The hardtop is an option. As standard, you have the radar arch and a bimini. The hardtop, I imagine, is going to be pretty popular because it gives you some nice thick shade, which is what you want when you're going to be having lunch. Obviously, you've got your seating area here. These look a little bit long of base and short of back to me. Little bit. But yeah, nice big table, so you can dine up here pretty comfortably. And you've got that sofa over on the port side. And importantly, we've got a helm up here as well. So nice place to drive the boat from, of course. You've got this wonderful view over that bow, over the forehead of the boat, where you've got the Garmin domes and the horns. Big compass set in the middle, and this lovely big ship's wheel, fully adjustable double bench. One downside being the navigator is inside the skipper, so they're going to have to move to let them out, but it's not the end of the world, and they do at least make that easy because you can pop this armrest up so you can slide out really easily. And I like the fact that even though the touchscreen is just there, I've got control right underneath my hand for the MFD, so I can do all my adjustments from here without having to bother to lean forward. But yeah, you've got the twin disc controls up here, another joystick, bow and stern thrusters separately as well, and of course your throttle controls. So yeah, I mean, it's a pared down but very nicely put together helm, where you've also got your bonding system. That's full digital services, all the boat systems underneath your fingertips. But the other nice thing about this design is that you have a staircase internally down to the main deck. So let's go and have a look at the pilot house. It's just so nice how easy it is to get between the decks and between the helms, and for people to serve the Flybridge as well. You don't have to go to the back of the boat and up the ladder. You can very easily communicate and also move between the decks. And if you're doing real passage making, this is where you're going to be inside the pilot house, all teched out in this lovely warm teak. Huge screens as well, both navigation, you've got the big Garmin's in the middle, smaller ones on either side, and then the bonding system. We've seen the screen up at the Flybridge Helm there, but obviously you've got it down here as well, and that is all systems all underneath your fingertips, really clear and easy to see day and night. It's all there permanently presented. Some more of the kit as well. Well, obviously another lovely fully adjustable STID seat. Again, you have the controls underneath your hand for the Garmin screens, more controls over on this side, and yeah, this is a really nice comfortable place to sit. But you can also stand at the wheel if you want to. If you want to slide in and have the best view forward, you can do that. The other thing is access to the equipment on this boat is outstanding. We're going to see that in the engine room, but it's little things like overhead here, getting to the wiper motors and things like that. You've got these lovely pop-out cupboards, so you can get to all that stuff really easy, really quickly. You're not having to pull down ceilings or anything like that. It's all very easy to get to, easy to maintain, easy to run as the owner. And I've mentioned the twin disc equipment. Well, here we see it again, but it's not just the technology, it's the look and feel, the quality of it all. These throttles, they're metal, they feel lovely, as does the joystick and the thrusters. It's really, really nice equipment. You've got backup for the steering here as well with a rudder indicator, so you can control that as a redundancy if you need to from here. Obviously your VHF there. Underneath there's the loud hailer as well, and there's storage dotted all over the place. Even down at foot level there's little storage cubbies underneath the steering wheel. Now let's talk about this boat's performance, shall we? And this is what I like about the Fleming design. At 8 knots, yes, you can do 2,500 nautical miles, but with the twin MAN 800 horsepower diesels, you can also do 21 knots. So it's that flexible cruising. You're not pinned at displacement speed if you don't want to be. You can bimble around at that speed. You can cover huge ground for a 60 footer, or if you just want to get there, you can open the taps and do 20 knots. That flexibility to me really appeals. Elsewhere in the pilot house, you have this seating area, and this owner's actually converted this. So this drops down on a pedestal. There's infill cushions, so you can make a berth here. So you've got a pilot berth in the pilot house if you want it. Also quite a handy extra space to be able to sleep kids if you want to. And the other thing that tells you this is a boat to be used is that you have a bathroom here as well. So you have a toilet very close to the bridge. Day head there. Also very handy for guests in the day, but yes, when you're on longer passages, very useful to have that on that side. Doors on both sides out to the side decks, and then the boarding gates on both sides as well, so very easy to get off the boat when you're side to if you are controlling it from down here. And there's cameras all over the place which feed to these screens, so you can maneuver the boat from down here and have oversight of all sides and the stern. And the final thing to say is you can close it off completely from this area, so if people are living down there, it's a night passage, you can close all this off, have the red light system on, you can still do the hard yards, but you're not being disturbed by people who are enjoying the saloon, which is what I think we should do now. You can close the pilot house off very easily, but it's also nice and close to the galley, so you can pop down here and grab a drink or a snack if you want to. And it's a good seagoing galley as well. You can wedge yourself in, so if you're using it out at sea, you're nice and stable and you can hold yourself steady. It hasn't got the standard finish with the fiddled edging, but this is a bit more contemporary. In fact, this saloon does look a bit more contemporary than you might expect from a Fleming, even though the only option is to have teak. But it feels really quite home from home in here. You've got the big double sink over there, boiling water coming out of the tap. This particular boat hasn't got a microwave, but it's got 2 ovens, which is quite a nice feature. Big hob as well with the pot holders too, so again, if you're cooking, your pots aren't going to be sliding around if you're cooking on the move, and loads of storage dotted around. Of course, you need lots of storage on a boat like this where you're going to be on board for long periods of time. Cooling is also very important. This boat's got the optional wine cooler. The American style fridge freezer is standard. Note how you've got these clips at the top, so there's no way they can fly open if you're rolling around at sea. Obviously a spot for the coffee machine up there, and this is nice, just really big pantry storage as well. All really helpful storage space and very easy to access. After that, you have the main internal living area. Nice flat floor here, good amount of floor space actually, especially with the table closed up. This obviously opens, so if you want to dine, you have a little bit more space, and there are stools that you can see down there, so you can move those all around this area really, but obviously pull them this side and you can sit some people over this side if you're dining. This also adjusts, not down into a berth on this boat, but as an option it can be a berth or a day bed, but this does drop down so that the owner and his family can lie on this area and watch the TV, which pops out of here with storage underneath. The sofa opposite as well just makes things a little bit more sociable. You see you've got your air conditioning vents in teak as well. There's plenty of teak on board this boat, and this I always like to see a nice central handhold. Like outside, there's always somewhere for you to grab on and steady yourself when you're moving around this boat. Even the fiddles on the table are quite handy just to grip onto if you need to when you're moving around this area. And with those sliding doors, again, it connects nicely to the galley. It's not flush, you've got this big doorway here, of course, to stop water ingress, but the connection is very good. This, incidentally, is an option to have this bar area here. I mentioned about the staircase as standard being open. You get the window, so a bit more natural light, but this with the backlit glazing is a really nice feature. Again, it gives that sort of home from home vibe. Let's head downstairs to the accommodation. It's a very nice, easy passageway down to the lower deck. I really like the curvature of the woodwork as it comes down with the spiral staircase. And of course, there's handholds everywhere. Not only the banisters that are split around this porthole area here, but also this upright here. As I said, you've always got something to grab onto. We're going to start with the owner's cabin actually, heading amidships. We'll do that. I'll just pop open this because this is where the washer dryer is, and there's a reason they've put that there, which I'll explain in a moment. Next to that, conveniently, you've also got the laundry bin, so you can handle all your laundry in the same space, and then you're into the cabin itself, which in this, guys, is full beam. You can have it that you have split guest cabins this end and the owner's cabin forward, but this I think is the better arrangement because it gives you this lovely full beam cabin amidships. Still got very good headroom in here. Yes, you're a little bit more closer to the machinery, but you're away from the hull slap. If you're on anchor or on a buoy, which many owners will want to be on this type of boat, you're not going to get the noise of the water rushing against the hull. It's a nice space. It's very traditional down here. There's loads of teak as there is upstairs, but it's a really nice space. Lovely big bed in the middle, storage dotted around all over the place, knee level, eye level, drawers, cupboards, you name it, you've got it here. A sofa on this side, so you can sit down and put your socks on, things like that, and then over on that side you've got a bureau, a nice size private ensuite as well. There's a little step up into it, but the ceiling height goes up as well, so this is a really decent space. Big shower cubicle opposite me here, heated towel rails, nice tops as well. So yeah, really comfortable space. And over on this side, there's yet more storage space, but also a bureau with the pop-out stool, little vanity area as well, and even having things like book storage up here. It just makes it feel more like somewhere you'd have at home than a boat cabin, and it has a really good walk-in wardrobe as well. This has actually been really heavily customized for the owner. He wanted more shelf storage, so they've got that in there, but as you can see, it's a big space, all beautifully lined out with wood, but well lit as well. It's a really nice owner's cabin. Let's continue forward to the guest cabins. The reason why the location of this is important is because it has a very positive effect on this cabin, which is on the port side, the bunk bed cabin. Now previously they used to have a separate washer and dryer here, and that was accessed through a hatch on this side. With that down there, given they're not separate, so it's a combined washer dryer, but it gives you so much more floor space in this cabin, so you can actually move around, get changed, shut the door really comfortably, and you still get a decent amount of storage through these lockers down here and a slightly higher cupboard up there. And it means you have to sort of twist around to get to these storage areas too, so it just functions much better as a cabin. Obviously you've got bunks. This one actually slides out when you want to use it, but then if only one person in here, you can push it outboard to give them a little bit more space. Nice to have a pair of decent portholes as well. They've all got mosquito guards as well, so you can have them open in the evening. And yeah, it just makes a lot more of this cabin. And then the final guest space in this version is right forward with the VIP. Neither of the guest cabins are actually en suite to the day head, but it's a good size. It goes right out to the extreme of the hull, so it's nice and wide. There's room in there for a separate shower cubicle, all beautifully finished in the teak, and there's a heated towel rail, all that nice stuff. It's a decent space. And then right forward we are in the VIP, which is quite unique on this boat. This particular owner wanted to really maximise sleeping space. So as well as this double bed in the middle, we've got these bunks on either side as well, and they're fixed. There isn't space to make them into Pullmans. You can fully fully remove them if you want to. Of course, it's a sign of some of the customization that Fleming can do, that this owner's got this extra sleeping space. But they're good because they don't block the light too much. You've still got your big portholes either side. You've got this light well above your head as well. Incidentally, this is where that prism is that we saw in the Portuguese bridge, bringing natural light down into this area. There's also a ladder inside this massive wardrobe to help you escape, because that's also your escape hatch. But even with the blind closed, this is a nice effect with the underlighting. There's more drawer storage on this side. How these just sort of open and shut with a really satisfying clunk. When we did the Nordhaven 63 tour, I talked about functional luxury. It's a very similar feeling on the interior of the Fleming 60. From here, let's go and look at a really functional area, the engine room. Here's a good example of some of the simple bulletproof engineering you get on board of Fleming. These saloon doors, they slide really easily, very simple mechanism. They also pin really easily. You've got these nice stainless steel catches that push back to spring-loaded clips and then lock it in place. And when you want to open it, you just do that. It's never going to fail, it just works. And there's more of that when you get down into the engine room. So we lift up this hatch here, and then you have this, which holds it up. You slot it down here. But it also acts as a banister, and you'll notice there's also a handhold here above this locker. So as you're coming down these steps, you've got so much to hold on to and ease yourself down into the lazarette. It's not just the space that's impressive down here. I've got full standing headroom at 6'1". It's also the quality of the components and the redundancy as well. So we've got twin fuel filters for each engine. You can switch between those. If one gets blocked, you can switch to the other one. There's fuel polishing as well. You can switch between the tanks. You can see we've got tank switching here, fuel management. You can switch the tanks across depending on how you're using the generator, for example. So it's very easy to transfer fuel from tank to tank and clean it in the process. We've got Arctic steel raw water strainers. And you've even got air conditioning inside the engine room. That's tucked down there. Over there you've got all the chilling for the accommodation. On that side there's a generator, of course. On the starboard side opposite that there's a bank of 4 lithium batteries, and those would allow you to run with the stabilizers running for about 2 hours without having to fire up the generator. That's quite nice. She's running on Humphrey electric fin stabilizers, and those work both at rest and when the boat is on the move. It's a boat, again, where you need to be able to look after it yourself, and being able to look after all of this kit, and there's a lot of kit that comes with a boat that is this capable, has to be easy to access, and you have to have redundancy if it goes wrong, and it certainly has that. Before we leave this area, let's have a quick look at the crew cabin. Come on in, it is not the world's biggest crew cabin, I'll tell you that right now. It's an option, as I said. If you don't have this, it's just racked out as another really useful storage space, and there is direct access to here from a hatch just at the top of this ladder. Through that is access to the stern gear, the steering, that sort of thing. The bathroom actually isn't too bad. It's a wet room, but you've got a sink and a toilet, some storage. It's nice and bright, at least. You've got the window there, there's another window in there, and it is, of course, air conditioned. The bed, however, is through a door, so it's a little bit coffin-like, not somewhere you're going to want to have crew for a long period. From time to time as an occasional berth, it's not too bad. Remember, if you want to read an in-depth review of the Fleming 60, you can do that on yachtbuyer.com, and you can also compare it side by side with its main rivals. It doesn't have many direct competitors, Bering, Nordhaven, Outer Reef maybe, but what stands out on this boat is the flexibility of performance. That 21 knots at the top end, but bring it down to displacement speed and you've got thousands of nautical miles of range. It's a very flexible, safe, practical cruising machine, and with the new additions they've made at the back of this boat, this platform is as good as it's ever been. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching that tour of the Fleming 60. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give the video a like if you did, and if you'd like to watch our tour of one of its rivals, the Nordhaven 63, I'll put that in a box up there for you. If you'd like to subscribe, you can do that by clicking up here. Thanks again for watching. I'm Jack Haines. This is YachtBuyer.